So we might mess with them tonight, but right now we're trying to head the general direction that we heard this elk bugle. Kind of desperate. I'm on fresh tracks from the herd, so I'm gonna call for my dad.
5 yards.
Why didn't you shoot him?
I drew my bow back and my arrow flew off the rest and was dangling, and I'm at full draw, and he's at 5 yards looking right at me, and I'm holding for full draw for a minute.
Did your arrow fall off, or did it just dangling?
It was dangling. It's still in the...
Okay, well, he didn't spook too bad. We might be able to get him to chat again.
It's a nice bull.
There he is. How far is that?
150. He moved around.
Okay. We're not done with him. We just gotta give him a break. Holy shit. Did you get that second arrow in him?
Right here. Buried to the fletch.
You should hear him fall over. I'm really excited. Look at, let me see that second arrow. So you got him with the second arrow. I think so. Let me see that arrow.
It's all up and down the arrow.
Yeah, that other arrow would have been broken.
It wasn't coming out.
That's a good sign. Alright, we're tracking the bull, gave him an hour. First shot in the armpit. Probably a one longer arrow jammed in and made a loud sound. Probably hit some bone. Rod didn't think his second arrow hit him. I didn't either. But we just found the arrow. He got a pass through, so that's good. Hopefully this bull laid down not too far away. Hopefully we can find him dead.
How the hell did that come out?
Look at your arrow. See how far you got. So you got 2 arrows in him. How much arrow did you get in him? Broadheads in him. I'm sorry, but we gotta stay on him. Hey, just to check in here with my dad. We've gone 1 mile, hardly following tracks, mainly following blood. This bull bled at least one time so much that we thought he was gonna die. And we got over here 1 mile. Well, actually we bumped the herd a half mile ago. So the bull made it back to his cows. We knew he had a satellite that he allowed or tolerated. And this is the same herd from yesterday. We got over here and we got to 80 yards from the herd. Started cow calling, and the bull he shot started coming to us. And he's bugled 3 or 4 times, which is not a good sign if you're trying to kill an elk. And then I glassed him and he walked towards us till he got to 70, and then his satellite Raggy 4x4 came circling down and came up above us. We saw the bull hooking cows and chasing a cow around. He's got a hot cow. So 2 arrows. First one in the armpit. Must have not hit anything real vital. We don't even know where the second arrow went, but it went through his entire body and passed through, and the arrow was covered in blood. But he's only bleeding out his armpit, and he just kind of just spits a little blood here and there. If he stands still, he sprays. But now I'm like thinking he might be all right, because he just bugled 3 times and hooked his cows and took them off the mountain. That morning we had a different herd that we had kind of wanted to get in on. Pretty good bull for North Idaho. We were late getting to where they were and bumped them. So found that moose paddle, and then we went back about 5 miles to where we were on the herd the day before in the clear cut area. They weren't there. Took us quite a while to find them. Heard their bugles off in the distance, kind of knew where they were at. Spent the next hour hiking in, and then we got in real tight to where we thought they were. It was important to note that we didn't bugle our whole way to this bull. Once we kind of heard his last bugle, we stopped calling and moved in, got the wind right, and then when we set up, I opened up with cow calls. He hammered, he was hot. It's pretty obvious that probably no matter what I said, this bull was ready to play. He had cows, but they were bedded further up the mountain. For whatever reason, he was down, and we worked him, and within 2 minutes, he was 25 yards away from me. I was just calling for my dad. My dad was set up good and made a huge mistake and pulled his bow back way too aggressively and bumped the arrow off the rest, and the bull looked right at him. And so he was at full draw for over a minute with his arrow dangling, hooked on the string, couldn't let down, and the bull eventually lost interest. Never smelled us, but just ran away. Walked up to my dad. He was pretty bummed. I should have filmed his response, but he was almost ready to fall on his arrow. He was super frustrated. He'd been hunting for, by himself for about 12 days in a row, and had already missed a bull, and basically squandered an amazing opportunity. And I had come up there just to call for him. So I talked him off the ledge. I said, hey man, that bull didn't go very far, probably only 100 yards, 150, and he didn't smell us. We're going to go over, get tight, get you set up, and I'm just going to rake, and I bet he comes in. And that's literally all we did. A lot of guys would have bugled or cow called, but I just feel like the raking was the most aggressive way to not be aggressive. So no cow calls, just got him set up. I could see my dad and started raking, and the bull comes in 45 seconds. Stops, uphill, 5 yards. My dad's pulled back, and he strokes him. The bull whirls, runs. I bugle. My dad cow calls, stops. Fast forward, my dad ended up getting another shot through some brush. Couldn't see where his arrow went. I thought he missed. When we got back together, I said, hey, we'll watch the video, but it did not sound right. And I heard a tic-tac on his first shot, and then after I watched the video about 1,000 times while we were waiting to decide what to do, I figured he hit him really low, rib to shoulder, was tic-tac, and I said, man, I don't know where that second arrow hit him. That's going to be the deciding factor. But I thought maybe he got out lung. But went over and started following his tracks. Got on blood right away. Nothing really lung bloody, just kind of just red artery blood. So we followed his tracks, and he kind of side-hilled uphill towards his cows. And it was about a half mile. We followed his blood, and we bumped him. Bumped his entire herd. And as he moved his herd, wounded, he bugled at least 3 different times, pushing those cows. So we slowed down, let him get settled, got on his tracks, found some great blood the whole way, and we got, about 2 hours later, we got to where they were at in the timber. Now I do want to say we did give the bull just over an hour after the shot to just kind of watch the video, give him time. We just didn't know what we didn't know. And when we were trailing him initially, we found Rod, my dad, his second arrow, and he obviously shot an arrow that went all the way through the elk. I mean, the arrow was covered in blood top to bottom, but there was no bubbles, no lung blood, so it could have been a no man's land shot. Hindsight, I don't know. And then about almost before we bumped him, we found the original arrow. It broke off, and the broadhead's still in him, and he'd gotten maybe half the arrow in him. And just watching the video, I just didn't like how low he shot. He didn't center punch him. And he tried to sneak it in some angle, and it just hit rib and deflected. And my dad's not shooting 70 pounds. I think he's shooting 60, and shooting a shuttle T-lock, I believe, or something. So We trailed this herd for quite a while. Caught up to him after we bumped him. The bull had bugled 3 times, and then we got in tight. And I watched the bull who had been shot run uphill chasing a cow that was hot all over and hooking her and taking his herd downhill. Meanwhile, his satellite came up into archery range, but we weren't even focused on him. We were trying to figure out how to kill this bull and finish him off. And when we saw him run with his cows, he looked really healthy, good to go. And so we sat there and debated probably over an hour. And what we ended up doing was walking down towards we last saw him and found just a little itty bitty bit of blood. And he looked really healthy. So I told him, we have a few hours of daylight. We could stay on him, but I just don't think we should keep pressure. We should back out, give him some time, and that's what we did. And we ended up coming back, looking for that bull the next day, and spent a half day. And I heard that bull bugling that morning a handful of times, and I guess he's healthy. So what did we learn here? What can you learn from this video? Why did we publish it? People take frontal shots. I've done it. My dad's actually killed a bull, frontal, 11-yard shot, and it died instantly. So I just think the angle he picked, in hindsight, was just too low and too in the armpit. I think he could have center punched it. It's a very low percentage shot, but when it's done right, the results are amazing. So he had every opportunity that day to kill that bull. I mean, that bull wanted to die. We literally 2 different times, 5 yards. So tough break. That's elk hunting. We just want you to learn from our mistakes. You can't beat a broadhead shot, and you're not going to kill an elk unless your arrow penetrates a heart or both lungs or some sort of lung-liver combination. And they're tough animals. They're resilient. They want to live. And we don't live in a perfect world. So if you have negative comments, post them. I'll delete them. We're just trying to keep things positive and keeping things real. There's too much fake, facade, phony stuff going on in hunting. Like, whatever happened, just keeping it real. This is public land. This stuff does happen. It may happen to you. I pray it doesn't. And hopefully you can bounce back. This bull lived, and they're just that tough. So if you don't hit lungs or vitals, they're not going to die. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the next episode. I think it just keeps getting better from here on out.